My friends, welcome back. Episode 10. I finally remember the episode number because, it's a milestone. 10 episodes. That's pretty cool. And, someday we'll be looking back, I hope, and thinking like, wow, episode 10, we were excited for that milestone. Now we're on like episode 1,000. I remember those early days of just streaming in general, even in like being like, oh, it's our 1 year anniversary of doing whatever, and it was like so cool. And now it's like 1 year. That's like so freaking old. That's so long ago. But I don't know. It's interesting, right? Time is time. It truly is magnificent or something, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys for supporting through these 10 episodes, and I look forward to making many more. Many more. I think, and this is, I'm just kind of theory crafting and brainstorming with you guys here. So, I don't know, but I am considering for next year, like close out the year as normal. And then next year, perhaps, going with a more, bi-weekly podcast, perhaps just to keep things fresh, to, give people a chance to catch up, because right now, the biggest feedback I hear from all the people who really love listening to the podcast tell me, oh, I'm so behind in episodes, which if one person says that, okay, we'll manage your time better. But when 10 people tell you that, perhaps you need to look into yourself and something, do a thing. So I'm definitely chewing on that. I think bi-weekly could give more of an opportunity for people to have time to ask questions and just kind of space things out, not be so rushed. Because right now it's literally like I post the episode on Sunday, then Monday the form opens and you don't even have time to listen to the episode. So I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I'll probably at some point take like an actual poll and say, yo, what do you guys think? Should we change this to bi-weekly? I can talk for 2 hours for sure every week, but what's the point of doing the podcast if people can't listen to it? Because that's a lot of commitment. That's a third stream essentially. Realistically it is. So I don't know. Just kind of brainstorming. So we will circle back on that soon enough. We are on, today is December 1st, and it is officially December. I cannot believe it. I think when October passed, I was like, wow, that was like the fastest month ever. November feels like it went even faster, dude. I don't know how. I have no idea how November is over. Like, legitimately, I have zero clue what happened to that month. That was crazy. And it's kind of a scary feeling, isn't it? Like, how fast time can go. Like, you don't, in your life, right? And this is a little dark, I guess, but like, you don't get that many months. Like, you get like a few hundred months, maybe like, if you're lucky, you could get like 1,000 months. That would be like 80 something years old. So like you might get 1,000 months, or you might get a few, however many months. But like a month is a relatively significant portion of your life. And to see how fast it goes is, what the hell? Why? So yeah, I don't know. November went really fast. We're in December. We had a lovely party for Otterly's birthday yesterday. And, anyone who's listening that went to that, thank you. We made it a good time. I think a lot of different people popped in, a whole lot throughout the course of the day. So very happy about that. We ended November, I think, in probably one of the best ways possible. So, that is pretty cool in my book, if you ask me. And you know what? No one asked me, but I'm asking myself because I love my own opinion. So, yeah, I think it was a great way to end the month of November. As opposed to, I was trying to think, like, what did we start the month with? It was a Friday, I remember. November 1st was a Friday. We probably did nothing. So, we ended a lot more exciting than we started. So, good job, November. It's over. And now we're on to December, and we've got a lot to do, I think, in the next few weeks to get through the year. Some housekeeping stuff. I need to post the vaRAIety Stream Awards, which I think is going to be the plan for tomorrow, because it does take a little bit of work, and I have to kind of commit when I do it. So I'll take care of that probably tomorrow. I don't know. There's always so much to do, and yeah, I don't know. There's always a whole lot to do, but we'll get through it. We'll get that done. We'll get the streams lined up. We'll get our anything else we have lined up. We'll finish our podcast. We have a special guest next week, which you'll have to continue listening on to hear that spoiler. Although by the time you watch the episode, most likely I'll have already posted the new form, and then you'll be spoiled. So there's no point in being secretive. But I'm going to be secretive anyway because I can. Because you can't stop me. Go ahead, try. Go ahead, try to stop me right now. Go ahead, DDoS me right now. Yeah. My internet's still up. I hope. I hope it's still up. I hope whatever time you hear that, my internet is up. But anyway, anyhoodles. So we're gonna jump right into the questions. We got a decent amount of questions this week, but first, I don't know. I just had an interesting thought earlier this week. So like on Tuesday, we played Kingdom Hearts, as you know, and thank you, Game Marca, for joining on that one. But we played Kingdom Hearts, and I remember, I think it was Maleficent that said the line, and she said to Jafar something like, "Don't let the darkness linger too long," or something, or it'll consume you, or something like that. I think I'm sorry. Kingdom Hearts quotes are not my area of expertise yet, but I am working on it. But she said something like that, and I was thinking about it, and a lot of things I think Kingdom Hearts says kind of linger with me. But in particular, that line did, and so the next day, the next morning, that Wednesday, right after we streamed Kingdom Hearts, and then I went straight to bed because I had to wake up at 5 a.m. the next day for a meeting on Wednesday. And, I woke up at 5 a.m., and it was just like pure... it's still nighttime, it's dark. Okay, so that was freaky. So basically, my PC blew up. That's why you'll have to see an abrupt stop in my talking in this previous little section. But wow, I talked about being DDoSed, and then immediately my PC exploded. Coincidences, huh? But okay, well, let's get back to it. So where I left off, I woke up at 5 a.m. on that day, and it was dark, and it was kind of gloomy, and I was tired, and just like grumpy as you would be waking up at 5 a.m. like grr. And I just had like a wave of negativity like wash over me, which is not all that common for me. I'm a pretty positive person in general, as you guys know, so I had like this wave of negativity just like wash over me hardcore, and it was a weird feeling. And I was just thinking yeah, it's very easy to kind of like I could easily let that be a slippery slope and just not get out of bed that day, and not and I had a lot of things to do that day, so I could have easily just let the negativity wash over me and just stay in bed, and or just be depressed, or I don't know, whatever it may be. I could have just shut down, let the darkness overtake me, and just I mean, basically just went back to bed and said screw it and just let everything fall apart around me. But I didn't, it was me, so I recognized that that darkness coming for me, and I shook it out of my head, and then I just went to work and did my thing. But yeah, I don't know, it was just kind of an interesting introspective moment, and I was like, yeah, I can kind of see how easy it is too, because it would have been real easy for me to I was feeling pretty negative and bad for a little bit there, and it would have been very easy for me to just say screw it and just not do what I needed to do that day. But I fought it off, but it gave me the sense of how easy it is to let that overtake you. And so keep on fighting, y'all. If you're fighting off your own darkness, your own negativity, and all that stuff, keep on fighting, because it is easy to let it overtake you. So it takes some strength to push through that. So I hope you'll keep pushing. Yeah. So I don't know. It was just an interesting moment. I kind of thought it was cool in a way to basically, I don't know, see the realisticness of Kingdom Hearts coming to real life. And yeah, that's it basically. So, all right, let us jump right into the questions, and we will rock and we will roll. All right. Question number 1 from Game Orca. And Game Orca, I'm pretty sure you asked this last week. To me and Kelmori, and I maybe Kelmori stole the show and answered it mostly, but I think I answered it. But you know what? It's all right. I'll answer it again because I like talking about it. The question is, what is your favorite flavor slash type of cheese? And flavor is spelled with a U, because yes. All right. So my favorite type of cheese in general is cheddar, and I like very. Also, I need to put my Spotify music back on. Hold on, let me put that back on while I'm talking. But I like very sharp cheddar. Very very sharp slash aged cheddar is very amazing, and yeah, I've always been a sharp cheddar fan. It's kind of what I grew up on eating. Is like very sharp cheddar. So I don't know. I guess that probably plays into it, but. So that would be my favorite, and I think it's very versatile. Like, that's what I would want on a burger, or on a sandwich, or even with, like, cheese and crackers, or, like, anything. Like, it's very, very versatile, in my opinion, and you can have it on pretty much anything, and it goes well. So that is my number one. I'm a big fan of Parmesan as well. Yeah, like, my Italian roots, like, you can put that on all kinds of things as well, pasta, and that's also great in like a cheese and crackers, like charcuterie type situation. So that's always excellent. And then, you can't go wrong with things like we were talking about provolone last week. Provolone is great in certain, a little less versatile, but in the things that you can have it with. Like it's good on like Italian sandwiches, for example. And yeah, so the things you do have it with, very, very good. And then, you've got like mozzarella, like, which is just like the classic cheese. A good mozzarella is like, delicious. But yeah, I would say overall, my favorite is a very sharp aged cheddar. And yeah, you can't go wrong with that. It's delectable. It's delicious. And it would be my number one. Like, sometimes I get like this, I think I talked about it on episode 1 with King Panda. I get this 17-year aged cheddar from Wisconsin, which is Wisconsin is for you those of you outside of the states. Wisconsin is kind of like the cheese capital of the USA, I would say, in my opinion, anyway. So I order cheese from them sometimes, and they have like this 13-year aged and 17-year aged and all of this very aged cheddar, and it is delicious, and my mouth is watering. I want some right now. It's very good. So for those of you, again, outside of the U.S., if you ever come to the U.S., we'll have some 17-year aged cheddar together. But yeah, so yeah, that's hopefully I answer your question, Game Orca. Thank you for the cheese question. I do love some cheese. The problem is cheese is pretty high calorie. You can't eat that much cheese, but if I could, I would eat so much cheese. I would just eat all the cheese ever. Every ounce of cheese in the world belongs to me. It does. Don't you try to say otherwise. No, it belongs to me. Trust me. Check the name tag on the cheese. It'll say me. That's what it'll say. M-E. Not Raiju, not Raichu, just me. But yeah. Thank you, Game Orca. Question number 2. Also. Well, no, technically this one's from Flame Orca. That's the fire type. The question is, what's a game that everyone seems to like that you just have never been able to get into? Conversely, what's a game that nobody seems to like that you love? All right. This is fun. This is a fun question. Good question. I like this one. So I would say for me, the biggest thing that I feel bad about not liking or getting into, I would say is like, it's more. I mean, I guess if you want to choose a game in this day and age, it would be Final Fantasy 14. But realistically, right, it's kind of MMOs in general for me, and it does suck. And like, so I've played a decent amount of MMOs in my life, but I just don't have fun doing any of the actual like dungeons and stuff. Like minimal fun. Like dungeons are very. They're like a very minimal level of fun for me, and it's very upsetting. Like I wish I could enjoy it. I do enjoy doing the non actually main stuff in MMOs. I have fun fishing, leveling up my fishing and my mining and all that kind of stuff where it's like low stakes, just like chilling. I love that stuff. But and I don't even mind grinding. like in the wilderness, walking around and doing some grinding. Like I think I like. So it's like I guess I should play Stardew Valley or something like one of those games where it's like a farming sim with a light amount of combat, because I like the idea of like having some combat. And I guess even like even something like Terraria, like I like Terraria, like exploring and finding like treasure and that kind of thing. I like the idea of going to get loot with a little bit of combat as well. So if that makes sense. So yeah, MMOs are the big one for me. I mean, especially Final Fantasy 14. Everyone loves it, and there's so many people I'd be able to bond and hang out with if I liked it. But I just don't, and I've tried to play it so many times. I've tried to play World of Warcraft so many times, and again, I did play them, but I can't say there was like a time when I was super excited. Like, I'm sorry, we're gonna reference League of Legends. When I play League of Legends with friends, I'm excited to go play. Like, I am like happy to be spending time with friends, but also I'm happy to be playing the game. Whereas with the MMOs, it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to hang out with my friends, but the actual game, it's not there for me. I just don't like MMOs. And I don't. Maybe is there a world where they could make an MMO that I like? Maybe, but I think for me, it's just I don't have the motivation to get that good at it. And oh man, I get flamed. Oh, I would get cussed out in dungeons like that. I'm not. And the sad thing is, like, I actually tried pretty hard to learn to be like decent, and I would still just get destroyed. Like, right, why aren't you doing like this combo? And I'm like, brother, there is 52 spells on my hotbar that I'm trying to do. Like, I cannot do this. Okay, I'm trying, but I play League of Legends. You got like 4 spells and a couple summoner spells. All right, that's my limit. I can't do 52 things. But yeah, I don't know. It's very unfortunate because like I said, I would love to love it, and it's not from a lack of trying. It really is not from a lack of trying. I've spent a lot of time. I mean, I guess like I kind of like MapleStory. MapleStory is a casual MMO, but then again, dungeons aren't really a big part of that game. So I guess that's what I, like, or not done. Is that what it's called? Raids or dungeons or whatever. I don't know, where you go in and you walk through and then you fight a big old boss. I guess they're probably called raids. I don't know. I'm sorry for using the wrong terminology, but yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, not just not for me. And it's very upsetting because it's one of those things where I wish I did. And I mean, I guess part of it too is like I know I won't ever be able to commit the amount of time to be good or to like do all the things you need to do in those games. So that's a challenge as well. I think in general, learning to be good at something that I'm not already good at is a challenge just because it will take so long. And that's kind of sad to say, but like I don't have the time. Like, fortunately, I got good at League when I still had time to play video games for 14 hours a day. So I'd play 14 hours of League and get good. And now I'm already good, so I don't have to put any work into it, as an example. Or, more casual games like Among Us or something where you don't have to be good. Or even Overwatch. I mean, I started playing that many years ago whenever it first came out and got not good. I mean, I'm not good at Overwatch, but I'm passably all right at Overwatch. I think I don't embarrass myself in the normal queue lobby, so that's a good thing. Whereas if I played like a Counter-Strike or a Call of Duty in this day, I mean, I don't know. Would I be okay at CS? Probably passable, maybe. I don't know. It's tough. And MMO is just a brand new genre for me that I didn't play as a youngin. The first time I ever played an MMO was with Toshabi at some point after I met him, because he was really into World of Warcraft. And so that was the first time I'd ever played an MMO. I didn't have any interest in MMOs growing up. So, yeah, I don't know. So I would say MMOs, but if you make me choose one specific game, it's going to be Final Fantasy 14. I don't even think I preferred WoW over Final Fantasy 14, if I'm being honest, of the two. Although Final Fantasy 14 does have hot cat boys, but I still lean WoW out of those two. And that's, I mean, it's a low bar, but yeah, I don't know. I get maybe an MMO will come out someday that I just absolutely love, and it'll take over my life and my world, and it'll be worth getting cussed out in dungeons or raids, whatever you call them. Sorry for my little new MMO players are listening, and shaking your fist at me. This idiot! He doesn't even know what it's called. But yeah, the ones where you fight a big old boss guy and he's got like all these special moves and you got to make sure to use your ability number 82 at the right moment or else your team wipes and then they all cuss you out. That kind of thing. So I don't know. MMOs it is. So thank you for that. Part 2, conversely, what's a game that nobody seems to like that you love? This game, you might have heard of it. It's called Commander Keen. No, I'm just kidding. I think everyone likes. I mean, people who played games at the time have fond memories. So, what is a game that I like that others don't seem to like? Well, let's go. I mean, I could say Back for Blood. Does that have mostly negative reviews? What are the reviews in that game? Let me actually look at what the reviews are, because for a while they were negative. What are the reviews for Back for Blood these days? Are they positive? Let me take a look here. They're probably like, okay, all reviews say mixed. So like, I like the game Back for Blood. I think it's a good game, and it's not, and this is coming from like the #1 Left 4 Dead 2 player of all time. I think it's a good game, despite its flaws. And it's hard to say that no one seems to like it, because I think people do like it. But I think a lot of people don't love it. And I think it's a pretty darn good game, if I'm being honest. So that would be the initial one that jumped out at me. But I think there's a lot. And like, as an example, like, I don't know if I've told this story, but I used to play the Wizard of Oz game on the Super Nintendo, and I played it as a kid, and I thought it was a pretty fun game. I went into adulthood, still thought pretty fun game, like it's a good game. And then one day there was a video, Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on it and talked about how crappy it was and showed all the crappy stuff about it. And I was like, whoa, that's not a good game, but I always thought it was a good game. That's crazy. So I think for me, that was definitely one of the moments in which I was like, oh, I see. I guess it's not a good game. I was thinking it was a good game this whole time, and I was so wrong. So I don't know. That is a good example. I think for me, in general, I enjoy most games to some extent. As you know, it's stupid old positive me, being all positive and stupid. I'm just looking at games that I've played recently, or games that I have a lot of hours in on Steam, to see if anything jumps out at me. Oh, Night at the Gates of Hell. Now that's a good game. Wow, I didn't get all my achievements in that game. I gotta go get the last achievement. But yeah, I think Back for Blood is a pretty good modern-ish example. I'm just gonna go through my list here and see if there's anything else that has a negative. I don't know. Do people like Only Up? I think Only Up's a really well-made game. I think Only Up is a greatly well-made game. It has good reviews, so never mind. That no one seems to like. I think that's the challenge. Is like, if no one liked it, I probably wouldn't have ever played it, most likely. But I am looking through. Oh, I guess for the other answer as well, I guess Souls-like games are kind of on that list for me as well. Never been big into Souls-like games, as you guys know. I've talked about that a fair bit before. So I guess Souls-like games can also be added to that list of games that I just don't think are quite it. Unfortunately, for me anyway. For me. So yeah, throw that on there as well. I'm just looking through to see if there's anything else interesting, and I don't really see anything else that jumps out at me as hey, this is a great example of a game that I like that others don't like. I don't see anything that falls into that category, unfortunately. So, well, unfortunately, I don't know. I see a lot more that people like that I think aren't for me, than the opposite. Yeah, I don't see anything too. I'm seeing a lot more games where I think they kind of disappointed me versus the opposite. Uh, yeah, unfortunate, but that's okay. No problemo. Yeah, I think I gave a pretty decent answer though. So I hope that, uh, the other one is like, I don't know. This kind of, I didn't love. Can I say this? I really didn't love Stanley Parable either. When I played that, I don't know. Maybe it's just not a good YouTube series video game, so I should have just played it not on YouTube. But I really didn't love it. I gotta say, and I know that's kind of that's probably a sin to say, but I didn't love it. Yeah, unfortunate, but all right. Well, let's move on to the next question. Thank you, Game Orca. I appreciate your question as always, and sorry again, I said Game Orca, but this was Flame Orca. Thank you, Flame Orca, for the second question of the podcast here. Question number 3. What are your thoughts on forgiveness or holding grudges? Oh, Game Orca's got a deep question. Okay, so this is this is a good one. This is a good question. This one is from Blame Orca. Sorry, not Game Orca, not Flame Orca, Blame Orca. My other favorite. I think I made that up. I think I made up most of the Game Orca variations, but anyway, that's beyond the point. The point here is, what are your thoughts on forgiveness and holding grudges? So I've always so I think the real point is, we're all flawed, right? And we're all doing our best, blah blah blah. I talk about that a lot. Every single person has flaws, and we're all just trying to get through and do okay, and we all make mistakes, and we all are only human, and there's certain things we can't avoid. So my general thoughts, and we'll go into it deeper, my general thoughts are, it's good to forgive. And, I think that's a pretty self-explanatory answer. I mean, everyone can understand that, yeah, you probably should try to forgive when you can. But also, holding grudges, it's not always something that you actively do. Sometimes it's subconscious. And again, we're all just doing our best. We're all trying. And I can say it's always my philosophy to forgive. And if someone does something wrong, they mess up, they talk to me, they apologize, whatever it may be, I'm the type to forgive. But sometimes, and this has happened to me, and I think other people can relate, sometimes subconsciously you can't fully forgive, and you do partially hold a grudge. And it's not because, hey, I want to hold a grudge, but sometimes someone does something, and it just, you can't, and it's unfortunate, but you can't forgive them, or you are still like subconsciously holding on to a grudge. It's kind of the same idea we talked about a while back of like first impressions, right? Sometimes someone has a bad first impression with you, and you can't get that out of your head. And although they're probably pretty cool, and like you'd probably be like, you might be friends maybe, like sometimes people just do something that leaves a bad impression on you, and you don't want to hold that grudge, or you don't want to hold on to that bad impression. And it's easy to say, oh, you should just let the grudge go, or you should just let the bad impression go. But it's really not that simple. You should try to, but are you going to have 100% success rate in not holding grudges, or, removing bad feelings or negative emotions you have towards someone because of something that happened? No, of course you're not. You're just not going to have 100% success rate on that. So yeah, I think for me, thankfully, I have not had, I talk about it a lot, but I have had a life full of people who have been really, really nice to me for the most part. And I'm very thankful for that. I've always been the disarmingly, I guess there's no better way to say it, but like I've been disarmingly kind to people in my life, and even the edgy kind of mean, quote unquote, mean people. And people will say like, oh, this person isn't nice, and there's no way they'd be nice to you. And then they're nice to me. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, but like, oh, I just had a crazy, like I blacked out. I forgot what I was talking about. So yeah, like those people in my life, etc. Like people have been nice to me in my life, and so I haven't had to hold on to many grudges. And there are people in my life that I have held grudges against, kind of, sort of. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's hard to say. Like there is some resentment. I don't know if a grudge is the right word. Like, there's definitely people that I have some level of resentment with, or some level of a quote unquote grudge or something. But I also wouldn't say that I don't forgive them for mistakes they've made or whatever, in the sense that, like, if I saw them at a con or we hung out somewhere, like, I would hang out with them happily and it wouldn't be fake. Like, I would still enjoy spending time with them, right? So I think it's you can try to remove, like, a grudge is basically having a lot of resentment towards someone, right? So instead, sometimes people think of like a grudge as like a fight, like a very black and white thing, like either I have a grudge or I don't. But a good way to think about it, in my opinion, instead, is like a grudge is like a lot of resentment, right? So you have a lot of resentment, but you don't have to have a lot of resentment. You can still have some resentment. Like, I think minimizing the resentment is a good path to take. um Rather than just saying like, oh, I have to have no grudge whatsoever, no ill will, no bad feelings at all. Like, try to minimize it, and maybe instead of like you don't, and again, you don't want to let the darkness, that negativity, consume you. So you don't want to spend all this time having negative thoughts. And it's an interesting segue. I don't know if this is the right time for this segue. Let me think about it. Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting segue. So we're going to go into a very, very way off topic segue. Is this related though? I kind of. I'm going to try it. I'm not convinced that this is related enough, but we'll see if I can weave it into something related. So, um I talk a lot about how my life is run on very thin margins, and what I mean by that is like, uh I have a lot going on, and I have my life structured in a way to ensure that I have time to do it all, right? But like, if I got sick or something for like a week, it would be very, very bad. Like, if I got super sick and I was in bed for a week and I couldn't work on things, I would be pretty screwed because I don't have a lot of extra time. I really can't afford to lose a week with all the projects and different things I have going on, right? Like, it would be genuinely very, very detrimental to me. Thankfully, I have my health, knock on wood, and never really get sick. So thank goodness for that. But yeah, so that's how I live my life. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking just about they were expressing concern to me over what's to come. And if you're not familiar with United States politics, it's a brief political talk, but like, basically, Trump's talking about like putting tariffs for Mexico and Canada and this stuff, and it'll affect the costs of things because tariffs raise prices and blah blah blah. So anyway, the friend was saying like, hey, are you concerned about this? Like, it's going to affect your way of life, and like, are you concerned financially? Like, it'll hurt you a lot, and like, you think you'll be okay, and all this stuff, right? And they said, like, at the end, they're like, so do you think that's the case, or do you think I'm like, I'm over exaggerating it, or I'm over worrying, or whatever it may be? And I thought about it, and I was like, you're probably not over worrying. I'm probably under worrying, but I don't really have the bandwidth to, like, in my brain, in my schedule, to spend a lot of time worrying about things, what might happen or what could happen. And it's for better or for worse, right? Because, it is good to think about those things. And sometimes worry is just like giving a good critical analysis of something. And that's not a bad thing. But I was like, I don't have the bandwidth to worry. So like, I just have to go with it. And if things end up bad, then they do. But like, my worrying won't change it. Like, my letting that negativity take over my life will just mean that everything else falls apart. And then even if that doesn't have a negative effect on me, like if the tariffs don't raise the prices to a point that it like affects me, then I already threw everything away because I was worrying, and it screwed my whole schedule up, and I let the negativity consume me. So that's kind of what I was circling in on, is the letting negativity consume you. And like how how holding a grudge and letting someone negative, like, can you imagine, like, if you think about like there's people that I think about every day. And the people I think about every day are people that I really like and care about, my dearest friends in my life. And I think about them all the time, every day, and in a positive light, right? And so that brings positivity to my life. Like I have a smiley face on my face thinking about ex friend. Like they're so cool and awesome, and I love the fact that they're in my life. Like happy, right? Like positivity. And then now imagine if like my whole life is like all these people that I have grudges against, negativity, and now instead of those positive thoughts, every day I think about like, oh, I effing hate this person, I hate this person, I hate this person, I hate this person. So now all day I'm spending thinking like, instead of like thinking about all those really awesome people in my life and all the positivity, now I'm spending all this time thinking about the people that I have resentment towards and I hate. That sounds awful. That's letting the negativity consume me, because those negative thoughts, that's all I know how to think is negative thoughts. And a lot of being positive is just adjusting your mindset, right? Because like I said, I have negative thoughts and sometimes they try to overtake me and I fight them off. So I guess, what I'm getting at is like, no one is perfect, right? I'm a positive guy. And there are still people in my life that I have resentment towards, a grudge, whatever we want to call it. I'm using the term grudge and resentment in the same light here. And my argument would be they're interchangeable. But for me, there are people in my life that I have resentment towards, and I try, and I'm not perfect. And sometimes I think about them and it makes me feel negative and it's not good. So for me, it's not really a matter of like, I'm going to be the bigger person and I'm not going to think negatively, because sometimes people deserve to be thought negatively about. Sometimes people do something that's screwed up and it's not invalid to feel negatively when someone does something that wrongs you, whether it be intentionally or unintentionally. Like you can feel negativity toward them. Like that is a valid human emotion. But you're only doing a disservice to yourself if you really let the grudge overtake you. So I would say holding grudges is valid in the sense of, no one's perfect. We're all going to hold grudges and have resentment towards people sometimes. But for your own benefit, try to minimize it. Try to minimize that level of resentment as low as you can get it, because getting rid of it completely is probably unfeasible in a lot of situations, because the world is messed up and people sometimes do things to you that really can't be forgiven or you can't fully not hold some kind of a grudge, right? So it's all about minimizing it, and that is not for their benefit, because listen, there could be a trillion people out there right now that hate me, and it doesn't affect me because I have no idea. People aren't coming to my face, right? I hate you. If they hate me, it's only affecting their own it's affecting them negatively, not me. So for your own sake, try to minimize the resentment so that you're not spending your whole life hating things. And hate it's tough. That's just negativity, and you don't want that. Some level of negativity, perfectly natural, and there can be too much, right? There are people in this world who are like spread only, oh, the world is sunshine and rainbows, 24/7 positivity, always smiley face. That's unrealistic, okay? Bad things happen, no matter how good of a person you think you are, or how positive you think you are, how whatever you are, bad things will happen to you. Bad things happen to me, bad things happen to everyone. And it's okay. And people mistreat you. People do things worthy of having grudges and resentment against them. That's how life is. But all you can do is minimize it and do your best to not let that negativity or that darkness consume you, because, again, you're only hurting yourself. So do your best, I would say. Understand that grudges and resentment toward people are a part of life, but don't let it overtake you. And, if you think about someone that wronged you and you think about them once a week for a couple seconds, and then you just push them out of your mind because they're not worth that brain space in you, then I think that is the right way to do it. Having some level of resentment, totally understandable, and just don't let it overtake you, because you know what? It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. And all those feelings do is make you feel bad. The other person doesn't know you're thinking badly about them. All they do is make you feel like crap when you think of like, this person did this to me and it really hurt me and I am upset. That's hurting me. Why would I want to cause, it's like the Pokemon thing, I hurt myself in confusion. I don't want to hurt myself in confusion. So try to minimize that, and I think it'll help. But yeah, just to be clear, some level of resentment, grudges, etc., is very, very normal. But yeah, just try to take care of your own mental health and minimize that as best you can, because it's not a healthy mindset to be holding too much resentment toward too many people. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, Blame Orca, for question number 3 there. Question number 4. Oh, this is a good name. Oh, sorry, I laughed. The name is Vision Skorka. That's a good one. It's a reference to my League of Legends skills, basically. Right? My skills, right? Yeah, right. Okay. This question says, who is your most hated League of Legends character to play against at, I think that's a typo, ANH. I think that's supposed to say any stage of the game's life. APE, AP Rengar, etc. Okay. Well, I've been playing League for so long that I probably have a few answers, but the funniest one, and I think I've talked about this before, the most funny League of Legends experience for you, Ian, I apologize for you non-League of Legends fans, you can tune this part out, you can skip it, but, well, you know what, I will actually, just in case the non-League of Legends players here are sticking around, I'm going to explain it. So there's a character called Blitzcrank, and he's a robot guy, and he's got an arm, and it launches out, and it grabs you, and it pulls you to him, and then he can also do this punch thing where he knocks you into the air, and so, like, if he gets you with that little grab, you're effed. It's not good. So I remember I was just a new little beginner player. This is probably like 2011. I was just a little baby, and I'm just playing League of Legends, and I'm just like, yo, it's time to play some League of Legends, baby! And I'm playing some League of Legends, and I go bottom lane, and I walk down my little bottom lane, and all of a sudden, from the bush, something I've never seen before because I'm a new League of Legends player. Whoa! All of a sudden, I'm in the bush. This guy grabbed me. What the heck? And now I'm dead as hell. Well, that wasn't very fun, but it's okay. I didn't really understand what exactly happened, but I'm going to go back. So I go back again. Oh, no, I'm grabbed again, and I'm dead again. What the hell? What is this thing this character can do? I don't understand. I haven't played this game. What? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. What? And so that game, I have no idea how many times I died, but a lot. So I don't even think it was an extended thing, but for that one game, that is the most traumatized I think I've ever been in League of Legends, was that game with Blitz, where I did not understand. I was brand spanking new to the game. I didn't understand what the heck a Blitzcrank was, and he did that thing to me, and I did not like it. I did not like it. It was not a fun time. I think as a whole, though, it's this is actually a hard question for me, and you know, one of the things I think of, if you made me guess, would be probably sometime a long time ago. This is probably like 10 years. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you what year, but there was a time period, and I know he's still good, but there was a time period where Lee Sin was stupidly busted. And I remember every game you're running against a Lee Sin in the jungle, and he is busted as hell. He can kill you instantly, and he's in every game. He doesn't have mana. So I think junglers for me were the biggest headache, because like the broken junglers, and Lee Sin is definitely the brokenest one that I could think of at that particular time period. I think those are the biggest thing, because no matter what lane you're playing, you're going to get to fight them every game. Like, sure, there might be like an annoying mid character, but if I'm playing bottom lane or top lane, I don't really necessarily probably have to worry about it that much, or vice versa. Like, there could be a really busted AD carry or a Blitzcrank, but if I just go mid, I'll never have to see the Blitzcrank, until team fights, and then, whatever. So I think the junglers, for me, the annoying, broken junglers at various stages are probably the biggest headache. I mean, Rengar is annoying. AP Rengar, yeah, God. I think people ran that in ARAM a lot, and that was really annoying. Yeah, I don't think anything super jumps out at me. Like, I guess for me, the problematic one was that Blitzcrank game and kind of Lee Sin, but like stupid things like in Game Workout, we were talking about it last night. We played League last night, but like stupid things like Gangplank that can kill you in 2 hits because he has like 8 trillion crit, or like stupid Scion who can one-shot burst you. I don't look at those like in a negative light in this day and age. Like at the time, they were probably horrible, but in this day and age, they were so long ago that I just laugh. I don't hold any. See, look at them. We're living up to what I just talked about. I don't hold resentment against Scion for one-shotting me in 2011. It's okay. I've chosen to let my resentment toward AP Scion go, and now I just look at it with fondness and laughter. But yeah, I don't know. I think most of those really silly, stupid things like that, I kind of just laugh at these days. Because, nowadays every champion is stupid. There's like every character has 8 trillion dashes and can do all this stupid crap. And I remember the days when League of Legends, no one had a dash. So like you play Scion with the auto lock stun and you're just dead because he can just walk. Now imagine that character in this league where everyone has like 80 trillion dashes. Like, oh, I hit my auto lock stun. Oh, wait, he used his 18 dashes and now he's like all the way back at his nexus before the stun even hits him, for example. So yeah, it was a different time. So yeah, I don't know. That Blitzcrank game is the one that still stands out to me, and I still have resentment. And that was probably within the first couple months of me playing the game, if not sooner. Like I barely played any games, and it was not. It still traumatizes me. So Blitzcrank. Yeah, I wonder, and sometimes I wonder, what is that Blitzcrank? Like, does he still remember the game? Like, oh man, one time I was playing Blitz and this stupid idiot, I hooked him like 20 times. He just kept walking back. Listen, dude, I didn't understand the video game. I didn't know that someone could do that. That doesn't seem fair. Okay, I don't like that. So you know what? You're not allowed to do that because I said so, and I'm the main character of my own story, and so therefore, I'm telling you, you're not allowed to do that. Okay? So yeah, you're not. I say no. No. Yeah. Thank you for the question, Game Orca. I think yeah, that Blitzcrank is the main one. Lee Sin had some annoying times as well, but really no one else super jumps out at me. Silly things like AP Rengar, annoying, but kind of they're so long ago now that I can just kind of laugh. And what was the question exactly? Who is your most hated League of Legends? Okay. I don't know. I guess in this day and age, it's just Pyke. Pyke is annoying. Pyke is pretty stupid. I think that's a character that's not very fair. Yeah, I'm just saying it's not a very fair character. He can kill you, and we were playing against a Pyke yesterday, and he had like 87 kills, and it's not fair that a support can do so much damage and can kill you like he's an 80 carry. He's supposed to be a support. That's not fair. I don't like that, League of Legends, Riot Games. I hate you. But yeah, I don't know. I think those are my thoughts. So I hope that my thoughts were good for your ears to hear, Game Orca. Thank you again. Next question. It says, would you rye my chew? Smiley face. And there's no name. Well, anonymous person, I'm sorry to say I don't know who this is from. So I can't confirm nor deny that I would rye your chew. But maybe. It depends. I don't know. How am I supposed to know that? I don't know who you are. How am I supposed to answer that? It's a mystery. I can't answer that. All right. Next question. From Xylee the Foxy, aka New 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 New. That was the username. I like that. Sorry, I said your new wrong. I just like saying it like that. I don't know. I'm not a fox. Listen, do I look like a fox? Look at this face. Do I look like a fox? Is this a fox? No. Maybe. I don't know. Could I be a fox? Would I be a cool fox? I don't know. We talked about it on stream the other day. I can't be a fox because the first like 5,000 people that call me a bottom, I will obliterate, annihilate, and obliterate. I will destroy them. So foxes out there who aren't bottoms, more power to you, brothers. Fighting the good fight out there. I respect you. Which, wow, we actually know a lot of those. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, the question from Xylee Cito is, what was the best memory you can take from a holiday as a kiddo? So I'm very privileged. I had a lot of good holidays. We had a small family. So when I was growing up, I should clarify. So my mom is from, this will mean nothing to you non-Americans, but my mom is from Kansas, which is in the middle of the country. It's very far. And as you guys should know, I grew up in California. So that's very far. That's many, many hours, several hours, like a flight away to get. So if you people in Europe, it's like going from like one end of Europe to the other, or probably farther than that. I don't know freaking geography, dude, but it's very far. It's very, very far. Thousands of miles. Well, a couple thousand miles, maybe 1,500 miles. I don't know. It's a lot of miles. Okay. But, yeah. So we had my mom's family there. My mom comes from a big family, right? So she has a lot. Like when we're there, we would have like 50 or 100 people for like a holiday. So that's where the big family is. But like on the West Coast, it was literally me, my mom, my dad, my little brother, my aunt and my uncle, which they got divorced like pretty young into my life. I think I was in 5th grade when it happened. I didn't see. It's a weird thing that I remember because I was driving to school one day and my dad told little old elementary school me, he was like trying to explain it to me, like, hey, your aunt and uncle are getting a divorce. And I was like a little kid and I don't really understand what that is exactly, but like, okay. So anyway, so for basically from a young age, like we had the 4 of them, but then it became the 3 of them, like my 2 cousins and my aunt, my mom, my dad, my brother and I, and my grandma and grandpa. That was like our group, that's 9. It was 10 when we had, although by the time my little brother was born, by the time my little brother was born, they were already almost divorced. So we very rarely even had 10. We mostly had 9, at our holidays. So it was like a tight knit little group, and we pretty much celebrated like every holiday with a meal or something. Like Easter, we would do something like Mother's Day and Father's Day, and like obviously the big ones, like the big ones here, Thanksgiving and Christmas. But like we would get together, all of us, like quite a lot, and had a lot of good times. And the tradition always was we would do our Christmas thing with like the whole family. So like here's the Christmas lead up. So Christmas Eve we would go to for a while we would go to my grandma and grandpa's. So my grandma and grandpa are both passed. My grandma passed last year, rest in peace. My grandpa passed in 2014. But they lived in a condo, but it was a nice condo, and so we would all go there. But then at some point in our lives, we transitioned to doing it at my parents' house, which made the most sense because my aunt was kind of a hot mess, still is kind of. So they moved and they kind of had small places and stuff. My grandparents, they had a nice condo, but it was not that big and it was far from us. They lived on like an island in San Diego. So it was kind of a drive to get there. So at some point we transitioned to my parents' house because our house was not big growing up, but it was like a very middle of the road, like 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom type house, like a very, whatever you think of, like when you think of like a standard, not big, but not small house, like that's my parents' house. So it became our Christmas Eve hangout place. But yeah, so we would get together on Christmas Eve, and that's where we do like our gift exchanges and stuff. Like, you give out your gifts and you kind of just hang out. We'd have like turkey or ham or like some kind of dinner, like a meat, and we'd have like snacks and all this kind of like stuff. And like, yeah, it was just like a nice chill meal. Like we just like eat. It's not formal in any way. It's just like, yeah, just like eat when you want to and like open presents when you want to. It's very chill. And we'd have like Christmas movies on or like Christmas music on. We'd just be like chilling and having a nice time together. And so, yeah, that was like our Christmas Eve get-togethers. And then on Christmas morning, it's just like my family, like my mom, my dad, my brother, and I. And we would do our Christmas morning, like our actual presents. So, yeah, I should clarify. Christmas Eve was like presents with the other people that aren't in your direct family, like your grandma and grandpa and your aunt and uncle and stuff. That's where you exchange presents with them. And then on Christmas morning is where like we would do like the full Christmas exchange, like with our family, like my mom, dad, and my brother and I. And, that's when like quote unquote Santa would come and you'd get up on Christmas and you'd see like your big gift. Like when I got my GameCube one year, like, whoa, that's crazy, and that kind of thing. So we do that on Christmas morning. And then after Christmas morning, usually we would have it like, I don't know, like noon-ish. We would have like a brunch with my aunt and my uncle. and my cousins and my grandma and grandpa, and we go to like a nice restaurant and have brunch, Christmas morning brunch, and that's like our little. And then after that, then everything is done. So we have those three events basically: the Christmas Eve gift exchange, the Christmas morning like traditional Merry Christmas, here's the gifts and stuff, and then the Christmas Day brunch, and then we'd go back home, and then everyone, is doing their own thing. That's when I'd start playing my video games or whatever I got for Christmas, and that's the good time. Like, finally, I can go play my GameCube and stuff. So yeah, so I was just kind of giving some background before I answered the question, but yeah, so I have a lot of fond memories, and I guess I'll just share a few. So there's a meme, and I've always been like a little, I've been the celebrity, I've been the star of my family, but there's like a meme because my grandma, God rest her soul, until she passed, she would reference it all the time, and it was like her favorite thing. It literally lived with her like until she passed. Like, she would talk almost every time I talked to her, she would mention it if we had any kind of connection to Christmas. But when I was a little kid, I would make like a dramatic, like, like normal people just like open the gift. I'm a little dramatic. I got a little flair for excitement. And so when I would open a present, I would get the box, I would shake it, and I would say, "I wonder what it could be." And I would shake it up, and I would say that like a few times, and then I would open it and get my gift. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a funny thing. And that was my grandma's favorite thing about me that I ever did, I think. And yeah, I don't know. It was a silly little thing that little kid me did. That lives on in people's memories, or at least it lived on in hers. I don't know if I think my parents remember it too, but yeah. So I think I have a lot of fond memories of going to my grandma and grandpa's house on Christmas Eve, because that really didn't last that long uh, before we transitioned it to my parents' house. So I think those are my fond memories. But in general, and the cool thing is, me as a little kid was like, like I was an aspiring like YouTuber, like, and yeah, as you guys know, like I first started putting videos on YouTube in like 2006 when YouTube was brand new. They weren't good. I was just a youngin, but like, yeah, like so I have film, like I filmed a lot of those Christmas Eve get-togethers and Christmas morning present openings with my family. So I have like videos of a lot of that stuff, and I think it's really cool, especially now because my grandparents are passed away, for example, and I don't see my aunt and uncle or my cousins very often. So like having those videos for me is a really great memory. I think just really spending time with people, not only people that are passed away, but people that I don't see much anymore, and just enjoying that time together, and just remembering those memories is very, very, it fills the soul, like, and they don't hit the same as an adult like they did. So watching those videos definitely kind of takes me back to those simpler times where like the most amazing thing was like, we're gonna hang out and I'm gonna get to eat some junk food, and I'm gonna get some presents and get some video games. Like just thinking about the magic of like the anticipation of like getting a cool gift. And I don't know, I mean, as an adult it's kind of boring. Like there's nothing, like I can't tell you the last time I was getting something for Christmas and was like excited, like, oh, I hope I get this for Christmas or something, because like it's just like, you buy, if you want something you just buy it, you know what I mean? So it's like it sucks in that regard. Just being able to enjoy those past memories, I think is the best thing for me. And there's no specific memory. It's just spending time with people and kind of transporting yourself back to those times. And there's one situation that I think about. And when I started working, full time after college, I started at a job where I worked holidays. We were open. I worked at a call center when I first got employed right after college. Took what I could get, and I worked at a call center, and we were open 24/7, 365. And so I worked for my first 2 years there. I worked on Christmas, and thankfully, I've only had to work 2 Christmases. But I remember the first Christmas I missed. So like there was 2 Christmases I worked. The first Christmas and Christmas Eve I missed both because I was working, like both celebrations. So that really sucked. But the second, I was able to. I don't even remember how. I think actually I do remember how. I think it was just like it wasn't going to be busy, so everyone could get off like a few hours early or something or something like that. I don't remember the exact criteria or why or how that worked, but like I remember the second Christmas Eve I had to work. I was able to get off early, and so I remember just like I went home to my apartment and I got to shower and like get ready and stuff, and then I got to go and have a Christmas Eve with my family. And my aunt, my cousin were there, my grandma. Yeah, that was the last. Wow, I just realized that was the last Christmas my grandpa was alive. Wow, that is. See, I never thought about that. I never put two and two together, but that really was the last Christmas my grandpa was alive. So isn't it funny how life works out? Because I could have easily not been able to attend that. So that was my grandpa's very last Christmas, and I was able to attend that. And I just remembered thinking like how happy I was, like that I was able to go to that as an adult, even because it didn't have the same magic of like gifts, but I was just so excited to spend time with everyone since I hadn't got that the prior year. So yeah, that's cool though. So that's one of and I was an adult. I was an adult then, so I can't say that's my my best holiday memory as a kid because I was an adult. But I think for me, really, none of the holidays, they didn't stand out necessarily. Like they blurred together, but in a good way. Like every year was exciting, right? Everyone was great. So I didn't have to really think of a specific one that kind of blew my mind. I will tell a funny story though. I will tell a funny story of one time when I was a kid and I was going to be getting a game known as Donkey Kong Country 3. I was a little wee lad and I really wanted this game. And so I was hoping my parents got it for me. So I went hunting. It was the only time I've ever went hunting for presents. And I went hunting and I found that my mom got me the game and I was so excited. And I was like, yes. And little tiny me thought the best way to get it would just be to be like, hey mom, I found the gift. Like I'm going to get it now. Right. And so I had it and I was like so proud. And I went to my mom and I was like, hey mom, I found out that you got me the game. So I get it now. Right. And she was like, she was pissed because rightfully so. She was pissed and she's like, no, you're not getting that. In fact, I'm going to take that back. And long story short, she didn't take the game back, but she could have. I was a bad boy. Okay. I was not good, but in my little kid brain, I justified that, well, if I just tell her that I got this now, then she'll have to let me have it because I said, that's the logic. Like, what's the point if I already know it's coming? Why wouldn't she just give it to me now? You know what I mean? So, that's my genius kid logic. And we're really, really smart. So that's us. That's us. We're super smart. Still are. In the year of our Lord 2024, we're still the biggest brain in the history of the world. But yeah, to answer your question, Xylee, for me, I was just very fortunate to have so many incredible holidays as a kid that none of them really stick out because they're all so great, and that is truly like I'm very privileged because some people maybe didn't get to have that many great holidays as a kid, and so like maybe one that was actually good would stand out to them. I was super privileged and I had so many awesome holidays as a kid. I remember all these fun like Thanksgiving dinners together with them and Christmases, other holidays, even like Easter and stuff, and I was very lucky. And I still am. I have a lot of people in my life that care about me, both family and friends. And I'm truly have always been and continue to be very, very privileged that people want to spend time with me in any regard. And I'm always grateful for that. And sometimes, sometimes life is very crazy, right? And sometimes it can feel overwhelming. You have like all these responsibilities, and then you also have people that you need to spend time with and stuff because you care about them. You want to, but like your life is overwhelming and you have too much going on. But I try to never lose sight of the fact that like the fact that anyone would want to spend time or be around me in any capacity is a privilege. And so that's why I do try to, I work very hard to make time for those people close in my life that want to be around me because I'm truly appreciative that anyone would want to be around me. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, Xylee, for the question. That was a very interesting one and something outside the box that I haven't had to answer. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. All right, question number 7. It's loading. My Google form is thinking about loading. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's a long one. That's why. All right. We got a long one. Chili Max. That's why it took so long to load because it's a paragraph. All right, paragraph time. All right. This, and as I just said his name a second ago, I'll reiterate. This question is by Chili Max. All right. Let's jump right in. Very stressful times at work are certainly approaching. They may have already started by now. And unfortunately, as some of my coworkers have already made me notice, when I'm ultra stressed at work, I become way too serious, face-wise and mood-wise, and can't manage to relax. I go quiet and I probably become quite boring and annoying to be around. This is one of my most bothersome traits as of now. So the question is, how do you manage to not lose yourself when you're in a stressful setting or situation? How do you not become a husk of yourself and manage to still process your emotions and your personality instead of shifting your whole focus to the thing that's currently upsetting you? So I think this is not an easy answer, and I think I'm going to maybe say some things. I just want to preface this by saying I may say some things in my response here that sound like I'm just like trying to say, "Oh, it's so easy," and I do understand that I sometimes give the impression that maybe like I think this is just so easy. Why don't you just do this? It's easy. I'm definitely not saying this is easy, so I just want to preface that before I answer the question. So for me, I tend to find humor in the ridiculousness, right? Like you've heard, Chili Mex, for example, like, hey, I have all these things going on, and I list them all out, and everyone in chat or whatever is like, right, oh my God, that is so much stuff. Like, that is crazy. Like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like, how are you not stressed? And the way I honestly deal with the stress is just kind of laughing at the ridiculousness because we all, I hope we know, and I hope that you know as well, Chili Mex, is that stressful times happen, and there's times where you're super, super slammed with a trillion things, and there's times when you're maybe a little more relaxed. And so it's important to kind of not lose sight of the fact that those things do come in waves. And for me, I've always found laughing at the ridiculousness of those situations is a good way to do it. Like how we talked about. Remember when we were on the stream and we were talking about how like my break time in any given day is my 30 minutes where I walk jacks. That's like the 30 minutes where I have that I can actually relax for a day and like respond to messages and do stuff. And we were all just like laughing, like you're I don't remember. You said something really funny, like what did you say? You said something that was killing me. I can't breathe, right? I can't breathe or something like that's, I don't know. You said something I was killing me. It was so funny, but yeah, I think it's important to just be able to laugh at the ridiculousness sometimes. And when you have those situations, like you had to work until 3 a.m. yesterday, that's ridiculous. Okay. For anyone, that's ridiculous. So for me, the way I would handle that situation is just like laughing at the ridiculousness. And I mean, I don't know, I think it's important to be able to laugh and I think frame it in a more humor oriented way. And you can complain. Like I complained to you guys. I had a meeting at 5 a.m. But listen, what I was doing, let's think about, let's take it back to last Tuesday. I was freaking annoyed I had a 5 a.m. meeting, okay? And I was kind of complaining to you guys. But I think, and I hope, that it was done in a way where we were all kind of laughing at the ridiculousness rather than like, you know how sometimes complaining can kind of come off like annoying or you're worried. I try to complain in a way that's fun where we can laugh at the ridiculousness. So, I mean, I would say that's a good approach to take. And like, if you're working until 3 a.m., you're with your coworkers and like shit's going wrong. And like that's what I would be like, is like, dude, like, like, I cannot believe I'm going to be here till freaking 3 a.m. Like, this is the most ridiculous thing. Like, laugh about it, because that's ridiculous. That's over the top. That's freaking ridiculous. Or you have a week where you have to work 80 hours. I've had those weeks, and it's ridiculous. To think anyone would need to work 80 hours is just ridiculous. And you can either cry or you can laugh, and you can go, wow, that is pretty freaking ridiculous that I have to work 80 hours this week and I have 0 minutes of free time. Like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Can you fathom how stupid that is? Like, that is so dumb. And just like, note the fact that it's not going to be forever. So yeah, let me go back to your question a little bit and read. How do you manage to not lose yourself? For me, I use humor. And when shit's going wrong, you guys know I've had a lot of shit go wrong for me this year. A lot. And the best way I handle any negative situation is to bring humor into it and to be able to laugh at myself. And trust me, I can acknowledge when I've been a little bitch too, because I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm a little bitch when I'm stressed too. And I can acknowledge and go like, wow, being around me was really, really unpleasant this past week. I was probably being a little bitch. So I think be able to laugh at yourself, but don't do it in a way that like, oh, I'm totally worthless because I was annoying this week. No, be like, this stupid situation that I was put into made me act so stupid, and I was complaining and I was feeling awful and I was probably not good to be around. Like, it's okay to admit that you weren't good. You don't have to be good to be around all the time. I'm not good to be around all the time. I'm sometimes a little bitch. So it's okay to lose yourself a little bit, but you don't lose yourself fully. You can lose yourself a little bit. And again, it's a sliding scale, and it's not like either I was 100% perfect or I was the worst person ever to be around. You can be like, sure, like I wasn't my 100% self to be around, but I did my best, and it was a really stressful situation to be around. And sure, I wasn't as fun as when I'm not stressed, but I was doing my best. And everyone in life, probably maybe with some exceptions, like the billionaires, maybe they don't have stressful things. I mean, I guess they probably do, but like everyone in life is familiar with being stressed and having stressful situations. Like, I can think of many, 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 many times when I was super ultra stressed and not pleasant to be around. Probably me a lot of this year, to be honest. So, you know what? It happens. And you don't, just because you lost yourself for a little bit doesn't mean you lost yourself forever. And it's totally understandable sometimes when things are overwhelming that you get overwhelmed and you lose yourself a little bit. But I find humor definitely helps. And I'm someone that can laugh at myself. And when things go wrong for me, things are stressful, things are shitty, I can laugh. And it's not even like a snarky laugh. It's more of just like a jovial laugh. Like, we can all relate to stressful situations. So like, I don't know. It's just like, what's the best way to experience, what's the best way to overcome that is with a little humor and a little, being able to relate to people. Like, again, we can all relate to being stressed. So laugh at your situation. Try to bring some lightheartedness to it. You can be self-deprecating, but don't do it in a way where you actually think you're awful, because just because you don't act like yourself when you're in a horrible, horrible situation it's not a knock upon you. We all handle stress differently, and we're all just doing our best. And that again, it's something I say a lot. We're all just doing our best out there, and we all take different things differently. And I don't pretend, like someone like me, I think I manage my stress pretty well. I have a lot going on any given week, and I have a system that works for me to manage everything. But I'm fully aware that like thrusting my situation onto someone else, they might have a complete breakdown. And that's okay, because again, we all take things and we all handle different situations differently. And you shouldn't be hard on yourself because of how you handle it. And should you strive to maybe bring a little more positivity to it? Sure. But it's not going to be like, oh, one day I don't get stressed and I'm not less pleasant to be around at all. Like, it's more of just kind of try to be a little bit better, just little by little, work on it. And like I said, my advice is maybe a little bit of humor. Laugh at the ridiculous of the situation. If you have coworkers, you can do it two ways, right? If you're all in a crunch and you're all working like till 3 a.m., you can joke like, what is this? What is this like mess that we're all in? Like, are you serious? Like, we're all here till 3 a.m. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is the worst. Like, you can phrase it like that if you're all in it, or if you can phrase it in more of like a silly way, like if you're the one that's gonna working 80 hours this week until 3 a.m. Every day because whatever needs to get done. You can do that like just kind of do it like lighthearted, like say like, geez, like you think it's bad for you right now. Like, I have to work 80 hours this week. Like, I'm working till 3 a.m. every day. Like, oh God, I don't even know how I'm standing right now. And like, make a joke, like whatever it may be. And it's like cheesy humor, right? But like, yeah, like, God, I need another coffee, dude. I'm like, this is my 13th hour I'm working today. Like, how am I even standing right now? And you can make jokes. Like, trust me, like, on Thursday, I was really tired. When I did that 6.5 hour stream, I was super tired because I didn't sleep well. I had all this stuff going on. And I was making jokes like, I have no idea how I'm like actually here consciously talking to you guys trying to play League of Legends streaming right now. Like, and it's like poking fun at yourself, but it's also giving yourself credit, right? Like, you're 13 hours into your 16-hour shift. That's stressful. That's shitty, right? So you can make a joke like, I have no idea. Like, I am barely alive right now. I am like, that was me on Wednesday too, because I had no sleep whatsoever. I'm like, I have no idea how I'm alive right now, but I need more coffee and we are alive. So it's doing two things. It's poking fun at the situation, but it's also giving yourself a little credit. So you're bringing yourself up as well as poking fun at the situation by saying like, there's no reason I should be like able to do this right now, but I'm pulling through. Like, I'm doing it. So I think that's kind of a subtle way that you can give yourself a little credit, Chili Mex, and that's the way I subtly give myself credit. I make jokes like, I'm built differently. I can do all these things. I'm built different. Like, and I say it as a joke, but also like, that's also giving myself some credit. Like, I can do this. Like, even if I'm exhausted and even if I'm super tired, like I can pull through and do like things like that I need to do, like a stream or like a collab or like modding for someone's stream or like a freaking birthday party like we had yesterday. Like, I can pull through with those things, even if I'm really tired and have a lot going on. And that's a good thing. Like, even if there's if I'm overwhelmed, like there should be no way that I could do this stream that I have scheduled. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to get through it. And I won't be at my best because I'm super tired and stressed. But you know what? There's an alternative world. Chili Max, you're really stressed, right? You're doing all this stuff at work, right? There's an alternative world where you just shut down and you lay in your bed and cry and you don't go to work at all or do it. So you have to think of it like that. You're just by being there, even if you're not being like your fully, quote unquote, your best self or whatever, by you being at work at all and pulling through on these like tough, stressful times, you're there, dude. You're doing it. Like and that's the thing. Like you have reason to be proud. You're accomplishing something. So yeah, how do you not become a husk of yourself and manage to still process your emotions and your personality instead of shifting your whole focus to the thing that's currently upsetting you? I mean, I think it can be hard. For me, I process my emotions on my Jack's walk, which is like the only time sometimes I have a break to do it. For yours, maybe that's when you're driving home or, thankfully I work from home, so I don't have that commute, but I did use that time for that at times before. But I would say utilize that time that you have where you're not doing anything else, right? Because when you get home, you might want to play a game or you might want to actually do something productive or you're not productive, but something active, right? But I use the Jack's walk for my reflection time because I'm not going to be doing anything else, right? All I'm doing is walking with him. For you, I think a good time is when you're driving home from work. Or I guess you only drive now. I don't know if you ever like take public transit or something. I'm trying to remember how you used to go to work before you drove. But anyway, I'm assuming you're driving. So whatever, on your commute home, I would say use that time to think about your emotions and just kind of level yourself and, and give yourself credit. Take that time to give yourself some credit for getting through those stressful times because, again, they're stressful and we all understand stress and we all understand having stressful times. And we're all just out there doing our best. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. Like, your personality is not going to be on point 100% of the time. Mine's not. Sometimes effing awful to be around. Sometimes I'm not fun. Sometimes I'm depressed and sad, and I was for a lot of this year. Hold on, I'm gonna have a little sip of my my coffee here because my throat's a little dry. But yeah, don't be hard on yourself because you're not on 24/7. I think we can all understand that you go through tough times, and like anyone who doesn't understand that or says like shames you for like not being on 24/7 is just a jerk, to be honest. Like, and there's no other way to say it, but like, come on, dude. Come on. Like, everyone has to be able to relate to not feeling your best at times. And again, anyone who tries to blame you for not being perfect 24/7 is just being disingenuous, because we all have struggles. We all have time periods, some longer than others, where we're super stressed, we're not feeling like ourselves, and we are a husk. I was a husk for a lot of this year, and that's okay, because you still have to. I think getting out of bed and doing your thing, even when you're not feeling great, even when you are feeling like a husk, takes the most courage of anything. Because trust me, we still didn't miss, guys. We didn't miss like any streams this year. We had our normal streams like every time this year. I didn't miss or cancel anything. And trust me, I was feeling like a husk most days for most of this year. So, like, I still got out of bed and did my stuff. Was I at my 100% peak personality, fun, cool, awesome, best possible version of myself? Absolutely not. Nowhere near. But you know what? We got out of bed and we gave it a shot. And that's all you can do sometimes, Chili Max, is you got to get through those bad times to get, you know, it's like the whole cliche of like the light at the end of the tunnel. You have to get through the tunnel. Here's what you can do. Like if going through the tunnel is how you get to the next part of your life, the only options are either A, you never go into the tunnel and then that's not an option. You just die, I guess. I don't know. Or option B, you go through the tunnel and you have those dark times and you get through them and eventually you make it through the tunnel. And I have mostly made it through the tunnel of darkness that I was in for a lot of this year. I think I'm a lot better than I was. And you know what? You're in a dark tunnel right now, Chili Mex. It won't last forever. I can promise you that. And you will get through it. And the good thing I find about stress, and this is my optimism talking, but like when I go through really, really, really stressful times, the good thing is the normal times seem less stressful in comparison. Like, you know, I had to work at 5 a.m. Last week. I had like all these meetings and stuff. And now I have my normal week coming up, which a normal week is still stressful. But I actually feel like for me, I'm like, wow, this is just like a normal week. That's pretty cool. That's like unstressful in comparison. So I think that's one thing you can get out of a stressful situation is like reflection that, hey, maybe my normal life isn't quite as stressful as I thought now that I've seen true stress. Oh boy. So I don't know. I guess it's just an optimism in that sense. But yeah, listen, you're not going to be perfect. When you're stressed, you will not be perfect. And all you can do is do your best. And I can't even say sometimes in those stressful situations, sometimes you can kind of fight it and keep a little bit of yourself. But sometimes it's just going to be a shitty couple weeks or a month or a couple months or a year, whatever it may be. And it's important that, you know, I think you've been pretty open talking to us about like this is your busy time at work and that you're not feeling great. I do think there's a lot of value in letting those people know. Like if you are aware that you are going through a stressful time or you're going to be going through a stressful time, I think it's important to just like, I don't know, like just talk to your friends and just say like, because again, the last thing you want to do is like, we talked about this a lot as well, but like the idea of like when you act differently towards someone, they can take it as like, oh, Chili Max doesn't like me anymore because he's acting more disinterested than me in me than normal. So that means he doesn't like me anymore. So I do think it's important to have that conversation. Like, hey, dude, like I'm going through this tough time, or I'm gonna be going through this tough time, and like I just want you to know, like I'm really sorry if like I happen to be a little distant or I'm just don't seem interested. Like it is really kicking my butt and I'm doing my best, but like, it's okay. Listen, if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's okay to say life is kicking your butt and you're not at your best. It's so okay to admit that. It is so okay to be vulnerable and say, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not doing well. and I don't feel good. And it is so valid and so important to be able to say that and admit that sometimes you're not strong. Sometimes you are weak, and that's okay. Like, you have those moments of weakness where you can't do anything. And that was me so often this year, where I felt like I was so weak and like just dead. And that's okay to admit that. And it's scary to admit that. No one wants to be weak. No one wants to have to tell someone else, "Hey, I'm struggling and I'm just not doing good. I don't feel good and I feel like crap right now and I feel like I'm worthless and I'm not feeling good, and but I'm going to keep going." And that again, that takes the most courage, is just to keep going through those times. So I do think there's value in having conversations, at least with the people that you're very close to, that might be the brunt of your uh, upsetness or your stress, and even like unintentionally. Like, if I'm Chili Max's best friend and we play League of Legends together every night, or whatever it may be, we play games together all the time, right? And then because he's really stressed, he just doesn't feel like up to socializing, right? So like for a couple nights, he tells me like, "No, I don't want to hang out tonight." If I don't know that he's going through something, my brain's going to be like, well, he hates me, I guess. He's not doesn't want to hang out anymore. So that's where the value comes in, and is just like being vulnerable with the people that you really care about and saying, "I'm not doing good." Because if they care about you, like, they're not going to, like, I have never felt any negative feeling toward someone for saying like, "Hey, I'm going through some shit right now and I'm not doing well." Like, that's so okay. And like, for me, I love when people tell me that. And it sounds kind of like sickening, but that's the way I've bonded with people the most, is when someone tells me that they're struggling, I can only help if I know. So, like, for me, like, I encourage like anyone close to my life, if you're not doing well, like, tell me, because I can't help you if I don't know. And I can't, and it's also, you're helping me to help you, because like, if, again, going back to that same example, like, if Chili Max doesn't tell me he's not doing well, and I just assume that he doesn't like me because he stopped hanging out with me because he's like out of the loop. He's like he's out of it. He's not feeling good. He's like super stressed. Like, I'm going to assume that he just doesn't like me, and I'm not going to like talk to him, because why would I? He's just basically showing me, in my opinion, right? Because I don't know he's stressed. All I know is like, we used to hang out, and now he's like not talking to me, and like doesn't want to hang out and stuff. So in my mind, well, why would I reach out to like help him or anything? He just doesn't want to be around me. He's showing me signs that he doesn't want to be around me. I mean, I don't think that's a huge leap. Like, if someone, like, you hang out with someone all the time and they don't say anything and they just stop hanging out with you, it's not a huge leap for me to say, well, I guess he doesn't, for whatever reason, maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. He doesn't like me, so I'm not going to reach out and bug him, because he clearly doesn't like me. So why would I talk to him? And so now I can't help you. Whereas if you have a healthy conversation, you say, "Hey, I'm going through this. Here's exactly what I'm going through. And it's made me feel very vulnerable and weak. And I'm just like not myself. I'm really struggling. Now I know. So now I can empathize with you, and I can check in on you. I can say, "Hey, Chili Mex, like, I know today was probably really hard, but I just want you to know I'm thinking of you. And I hope that that you're still going strong. And I'm rooting for you. And I can't wait to get out of this tunnel on the other end with you." So it's just important. Like, your connections in life, in my opinion, are the most important thing by far. And if you don't utilize those connections, if you ball yourself up and you don't utilize those people in your life to kind of help push you along when you are struggling, then what's the point of them being there? Like, people, a lot of people think, I think, that friendships are meant to be for the good times. Like, you're going to have like only good times, and it's going to be laughing and jolly, happy times playing games together. But like, the most important time to have those connections is when you're not doing well, and when you need someone to push you, get you through those dark times. Um, so that's super important. So I do think there's a lot of value in being open with people, and saying like, "I'm going to be going through this for a while, and like, I might need your help." And it's okay to ask for help. Listen, it can be hard to ask for help, and trust me, for me, it is super hard to ask for help or to admit that I'm weak. It's something I've had to work on a lot this year, and it's really hard. but you should ask for help. And any of my close friends in life, I would 100% want them to. I would hope that I would be one of the first people that they would come to, if not the first, when they were going through a tough time. And it's very easy to. I'm going to pivot this into. I'm going to pivot this into another talking point that I had on my spreadsheet. So we're gonna put in. What do you put a pin in that? Put a pin in that. We're gonna put a pin in that, and we're gonna slightly transition to something else that I was talking about. Right. So I made a note of this because it was something I thought about. So a common thing, right, is, and I've done this before. I admit I'm guilty of it, and people have done it to me in life a lot. Is kind of the trope. I don't know if it's a trope, but basically, when you have a friend and they have a lot going on and stuff, you have the desire when you talk to them or when you ask them for a favor, anything, you lead into it with like, "Hey, sorry, I know you're really busy, but sorry to take up your valuable time, or sorry to do this." Like, you're apologizing, right, for reaching out to them. I want to say, I think it's something we can all work on and do better. And again, I've been guilty of that. But I think it's really important to try to not do that, because let me tell you what my brain says when someone says that to me, right? And I know, listen, I know I have a lot going on. And so sometimes my dear, dear friends, like some of the most important people in my life, will message me and say, "Hey, I know you're busy," or "I'm sorry to take up your time, but I have a question," or "Hey, I need help with this," or something. And they lead into it with, "I'm sorry for taking up your time." What my brain says is like, here's how my brain processes that. Damn, my friend thinks that I'm so busy that like their talking to me is a bother, and that I haven't factored in spending time with the people I care about into my schedule. Because for me, listen, I know this might sound crazy to believe, right? It might sound crazy to believe because I have a very ultra optimized schedule. But guess what? Worked into that schedule, I do have time for my good friends and my family, because they're an important part of my life. And so if you're a close friend of mine, guess what? Your time talking to you sometimes, or helping you with something, or just in general being around you, it's worked into my schedule because it's the important, essential part of life. So my brain sometimes, yeah, again, my brain will feel bad because if someone close in my life, and I'm not saying like random person off Twitter who just wants to make small talk that you've never talked to before, right? I'm talking about like your close friends, right? You have time for them, like, period. I do anyway. And I would never, I don't like when people have to say, "Hey, I'm sorry for taking up your time." Because again, to me, that just says, damn, this person thinks that I can't manage my time and that I'm so busy that I can't deal with literally probably the most important aspect of life, friends. So they think I don't have time to deal with literally the most important thing to me, which is you guys, like the people listening, my friends. So I think that is something important. And as we circle it back to the topic Chili Mex is talking about, it's very important to not say, "Oh, I'm in a bad headspace, but I don't want to bother write you with this," for example, because I don't want to have to like bother him and tell him that I'm going to be going through this or that I'm going through this because he's busy. Listen, if you don't do that, and then I just never hear from you, or you're acting like you don't want to be around me and stuff, that's even worse. That's way worse than just taking a few minutes of my time to have a talk. You know what I mean? So I just want to, I guess, circle the like connect those two things. Like, the people that are close in your life, even if your brain says like, "Oh, they're busy, they don't want to hear about that I'm going to be going through this tough time and I might not be myself." Don't let your brain tell you that, because listen, even busy people have time for the people that are important in their lives, because you have to. You have to. I have a lot going on. If my life was all just like work and like no time, like for me, and I talk about it a lot, for me, the most valuable thing in life is connections and people. And so if my life was all just working and doing those kind of things, and like I had no time for people whatsoever, I wouldn't be able to be the person that I am, because the what keeps me cheerful and happy is surrounding myself with amazing people. So if I lost that, I would have to cut something else out because I need to have at least a little time that I can, you know, spend time, talk to, help my friends if they need something. If again, I just want to emphasize, like, anyone important in my life, if you ever need me for something, don't hesitate to reach out, okay? Because it's, again, don't let your brain tell you that people are too busy for you. They're not. They're not. If they are, then it means you're not that important to them. Probably, most likely, and that's a oversimplification because sometimes life does just get too busy for a little bit where you don't have time for that. But if someone never ever has time for you, then you're probably just not a priority in their life, and that's okay. That's not a knock against anyone because we all have to be selective, right? Would it be awesome if I could just be close friends and talk to like 1,000 people every single day? Sure, 100%. Sounds pretty cool, right? Like, I want to get to know everyone in the world. We don't have time for that, right? But I can at least, at a minimum, make time for the people that are close in my life. And so if you're going through something, talk to those people that are close in your life because they deserve to know and they deserve to have at least the option to help you. Not everyone is good at helping in those situations, but like I consider myself great at helping and listening and offering advice and stuff. So that's something I'm passionate about, and helping others is what I'm most passionate about in life. So, if you're going through something, I would hope to give me a heads up. Even if I can't help, at least I can send you a message every once in a while and say, "Hey, I was thinking about you." Rather than here's the two options, right? Because I've had this situation where people have just like kind of ghosted me, and they might have had a reason for it, and they might have been going through a stressful time. But my brain says, "Oh, well, I think about them a lot or sometimes, but I'm not going to message them that because they have already ghosted me. They don't want to be around me, clearly." Versus someone who says, "Right, you, I really care about you, and I just want you to know, like, I'm going through this, and I just wanted you to be aware because I might not be around or I might not be acting like myself, but I promise I care about you just as much as ever, and I'm trying my best." And so at that point, then I know that you're reaching out for help, or not help necessarily, but you're kind of like you're making an effort to connect with me, right? Then when I think of you, because I inevitably will. I mean, I say it all the time, but I think about my friends a lot, and I'll be just doing a random thing, and someone will pop into my brain, and I'll think it'll remind me of something like I'll think of them because oh yeah, there was this time when we were playing this game together and this happened, or they said this thing that made me think of this. Uh, so if I think that you just hate me, I'm not going to reach out and tell you. But like, even just getting a message like, "Hey, Chili Mex, like, I just saw that Wild Robot came to streaming, and I thought of you because like we bonded over that movie a lot. Hope you're doing okay today. I'm sorry you had to work so late, but I'm rooting for you, and yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your night." Just getting a little something like that, like Chili Mex might be burnt out as hell, and sure, like me just sending a stupid little message, like it's not going to fix his problems. But sometimes just knowing someone is thinking about you when you think, because in those dark times when you're feeling really, really stressed, oftentimes you just feel totally alone, that no one cares about you, that you're all alone, the darkness is consuming you, and you just think, yeah, like no one's thinking of me. So just to get a message that someone is thinking about you and you went through their head can be such a game changer, and you can't get that if you don't level with them on some to some extent. And again, it's hard to be vulnerable, but you can level with them and say, "Yo, I'm struggling right now, and I'm sorry." And it's okay to apologize, right? And they'll definitely tell you. Just like if you come to me and say, "Hey, I'm sorry in advance. I won't be acting like myself." I'm gonna say, "No need to be sorry," but it's okay to say like, "I'm sorry that I'm struggling," even though you shouldn't feel sorry realistically. It's okay to say, "You know what? I'm sorry for this, but I'm going to be going through this for a while, and I appreciate you dealing with me," or whatever you want, however you want to say it, because I don't know, it's just so important to be honest and vulnerable with those people you care about. And I'm not saying go up to every single person ever that you've known, but like those essential parts of your life, and everyone has them. And like take a minute right now and think about some of like the very, very essential people in your life. We'll have a moment. We'll take a 15-second breather and just think about the people that you would say is like your inner circle, like the people that really like if any of them stop being a part of your life, it would really, really affect you. Like your close friends, your best friends, whatever you want to call it. Take a minute and think about those people. All right, we'll give it 15 seconds. Just think about it. Ready, go. Okay, that wasn't probably 15 seconds, but hopefully you thought about them. Uh, and I hope those people would be on your list. And if I happen to be on that list that you thought of, well, I'm honored. But I would at least hope that you could have a talk with those people that are, that are close in your life. And it's okay. Like we all struggle. You're never gonna say to someone like, I'm struggling or I'm going through a tough time, and they're like, what? I've never been through a tough time. We've all felt like crap sometimes. We've all had prolonged, I can pretty much guarantee every single person listening to this has had prolonged periods of sadness and hard times and stress and felt like they were worthless and felt like no one cared about them and felt like it would be a struggle just to make it to the next day. But you know what? We're all here and we've all, some of us might be going through those things right now, even. But we're all here and we've all chosen to put one foot in front of the other and move on to the next day. And I'm thankful that you're all here with me and through those dark times and the good times. That it really is important just to know that like friendships are not about only good times. Like bad, like my best friendships in my life have always been the ones where we were vulnerable with each other and we shared and we could see behind the curtain. Seeing behind the curtain is like such an important thing, and just being able to see like because sometimes admittedly sometimes we all feel like we're the only ones that are fucked up and the people around us are just perfect and amazing. And so to be able to see behind the curtain that, you know what, they're flawed too, and even someone who's maybe super smart sometimes they feel like they're dumb. Sometimes someone who's super confident sometimes feels like they're lame. Sometimes someone who's super outgoing feels like they're super closed off and no one likes being around them. Like everyone feels, no matter what kind of person they are, they probably feel like the opposite. I mean, the best pros in any sport or any game, they sometimes feel like I've talked about this before. I'm an experienced poker player who made my living playing poker. I've made many, many tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in poker. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like I'm totally washed and I'm horrible. I'm the worst poker player ever, and I just cannot even function. So we all sometimes are hard on ourselves, and so being able to see behind the curtain, to say I'm vulnerable, like I have been a husk. It's okay. Sometimes you're a husk. You know, people that I had to admit to this year that I was a husk for so long. It's not easy, and it's hard to be able to do that. But that's how you can relate to people sometimes, is like, hey, I'm not feeling good. And then that person thinks like, wow, like I thought Raichu always felt good. So Raichu's just a normal person like me. And he also feels bad sometimes and feels worthless and feels low. Sure, we all do. And I think seeing behind the curtain for that reason is just the best way. And sometimes that's the best way to bond with someone, is just to admit. So I think Chili Mex, you're probably being a little hard on yourself. All you can do is do your best, and some days will be better than others when you're going through stressful times. And it's okay to admit that, hey, I'm going to have this period where I'm just not myself. I'm not great. Because listen, I've had, maybe I faked it okay. I don't know. But there were many months this year where I turned on the stream and I was feeling like absolute crap. But I still turned on the stream and I talked to you, and maybe I was relatively cool, or maybe I was a boring blob and my personality didn't shine at all. But you know what? I tried my best, and that's all we can do. And it's okay to admit that sometimes your best is not as good as you'd like it to be. That's how life is. So, Chili Max, don't focus on so much of that you have to be yourself, but focus instead the people that you care about, the people that you want to know that, hey, I'm going through this time, so please bear with me. Just have an honest talk. And it's okay. It's scary to be vulnerable, but it's also okay to be vulnerable. And it's, in my opinion, extremely important and essential to be vulnerable. So you know what? If you need to go up to someone and say, "Hey, I'm not going to be myself for a while because I'm stressed. I'm going to do my best." But sometimes all I'm going to be able to do is get out of bed and go through the motions. And that's totally okay. Because trust me, again, there have been many, many days where me getting out of bed, listen, last Wednesday I told you the darkness was trying to take me over, and it was telling me you suck and your life sucks and everything about you sucks. And why are you even getting out of bed? And I could have let that darkness consume me, but you know what? Sometimes getting out of bed is a win, and I got out of bed and I lived my day. So sometimes you have to be proud of your little accomplishments, whether that be, hey, this was a really shitty situation, but it could have gone a lot worse. It could have been better, sure, but it could have been a lot worse. Hey, this day kind of sucked, but you know what? I could have just stayed in bed all day and cried, or I can get up and try and give my best. So give yourself credit, even if it seems like you're not deserving of credit. You are. You are deserving of credit. So give yourself credit and be proud of yourself for even little victories. Even showing up at work is a victory on some days. Getting out of bed is a victory on some days. Accomplishing something small is a victory. Me, sometimes turning on the stream, even if I'm feeling awful, and putting on a show for you guys like I love to do, that is an accomplishment. It is. And you should be proud of yourself for your accomplishments. Even if they're not exactly what you were hoping for, you still accomplished something. Trust me, getting out of bed every day as an adult with everything that's on all of our plates, it is an accomplishment. So if you got out of bed today and you are working and you're at work, you're stressed and work's going crappy and you're like, man, I really could have done better today. You know what? You could have, but it could have been a lot worse as well. And that's okay. We don't. There's this idea, I think, that you have to be at your best. You have to be performing at the highest level possible every day. And let me tell you, I do not do that. I wish I performed at my best because I know my best is pretty dang peak. But the thing is, that's unobtainable. I can't be at my peak every day. No one can sustain their peak every day. That's why it's their peak. So some days are going to be better than others. You might, listen, if we're giving grades, your Monday might be a C, and then your Tuesday is a B, and by Wednesday, oh, I'm thriving. I got an A, baby. Like, I really crushed it that day. But Thursday, man, I didn't sleep well. I got an F. I barely got out of bed, and I went to work, but I didn't accomplish anything. It was like just going through the motions. I didn't talk to anyone. I was grumpy, the people that did talk to me. I get an F on that day. But you know what? Then we're going to come back on Friday, and we're going to get a B. We had a pretty good day. We got some things done. We were more pleasant to be around. That's okay. You know what I mean? So you're not going to be in an A every day. Sometimes you're going to be in an A, and sometimes you're going to be in an F. Sometimes you're going to be somewhere in between. And that's okay. That's okay, because again, you're not going to be at your peak. No one could be at their peak every day. It's unobtainable. So try to not be at your low. Like if I was getting Fs every day, okay, that might be a problem. But you know what? Give yourself credit. You got out of bed, you went to work, you were moderately, decent to be around. Like you didn't cuss anyone out. You weren't like your normal chipper self, but you did your best. Hey, that's like a B. You know what I mean? It's not perfect. It's not an A plus. That might be a C. But you know what? You got out of bed. You did what you needed to do, and you did it with as best as you could. Every day is not going to be an A. Also, I think that might be a good podcast title for this episode. Every day is not going to be an A. That might be a good one. Or every day is not your peak. Every day is not your peak. I don't know. I'll brainstorm the title, but something around that I think would be a good podcast title for the day. But Chilimex, I hope I answered your question well. We spent like a long time on that question. So I hope that I helped. I don't know if I did, but really at the end of the day, just be accepting that every day is not going to be great. And it's okay to be stressed and just do your best and go through it. None of us can maintain as you put it, your let me see. Not lose yourself. I lose myself all the time. But you know what? Don't lose yourself fully. Just try to hang on to a little bit. And even if it's just something silly, like let me use an example, Chili Max. Hold on. Let me adjust myself in my chair. You had a horrible day at work. You got up. You were feeling grumpy. You didn't get much sleep because you stayed up too late hanging out with Raichu stream the night before. So you didn't get enough sleep. And so here you are. You're rolling in. You're getting out of bed. And let's just say it's a Wednesday. You watched the Raichu stream on Tuesday because it was Kingdom Hearts. You had to stay up late. Wednesday, you get out of bed. You didn't get enough sleep. You feel like crap. Well, this sucks. All right. So now it's Wednesday. We're feeling like crap. We didn't get enough sleep. We're going to work. And we feel awful. We feel tired. We're guilty with ourselves. Like, we stayed up too late. That was stupid. And why am I so dumb? I didn't get enough sleep. Here I am at work. Now I'm grumpy. I'm going to have to be working until 3 a.m., whatever. And I'm tired. And everything is getting on my nerves. And you know what? I didn't have the best day. So now we get through our work shift. Like, I didn't cuss anyone up. I didn't punch anyone. I wasn't my best self. I probably wasn't all that great to be around. I had a resting bitch face, as they say. You mentioned face-wise. So you had your resting bitch face that day. Okay, well, whatever it may be. So now it's Wednesday night. So now we haven't lost ourselves right now. We're driving home, Chili Max. Here's you driving home. It's Wednesday. We had just a shit day. But you know what comes on our Spotify? Popular. I'm gonna be popular. Whatever. The song from Wicked, right? So now you're belting out this song, this silly little song from a movie. And you know what? You haven't lost yourself fully, because you know what? That's part of you, is being a silly little guy that gets hyper fixated with the song from a silly little movie, and you're singing singing your heart out at 3 a.m. as you drive home from the shittiest day ever. But you know what? You didn't fully lose yourself. You still have that beautiful aspect of yourself where you're just a silly guy that loves this song and wants to sing it. So I think that's a positive win, right? Like, you didn't fully lose yourself. You still have this stupid little thing that makes you you. This silly little thing. I shouldn't say stupid, but you know what I mean. It's a silly little thing that makes you you, and you still have that. And so you drive home, you go to bed. This night you had a really crappy day. You were really tired, so you go straight to bed. When you get home, you go to bed. You wake up. And you got a better night's sleep. You were really exhausted, so you got a good night's sleep. So now it's Thursday. Now you go into work. You don't have that resting bitch face. You got a little bit more of a positive, little happy face. You're still stressed. You're still a lot going on at work, so you're a little stressed. But you can joke and you can laugh with your coworkers and be like, "Oh my god, dude! Yesterday I was like, I feel so much better. Like, yesterday I got no sleep. I'm sure I had resting bitch face." You're laughing with your coworker like, God, dude, like, I can imagine any customer that saw me yesterday probably thought I was like the biggest dick, and like, oh my god, I can only imagine. And they might laugh with you. They might say either like, "Oh no, you were fine," or like, "Yeah, you did look really angry." Like, one time I looked over at you and you looked so angry, and it was honestly pretty funny. Like, I looked over and just saw you and I was intimidated, and I know you're freaking like really nice. And so, yeah, they probably did think that. It's okay, dude, because you know what? We're not perfect. And so that is a good way to recover from a day where you didn't let lose yourself fully. You did for a few hours. You had lost some of yourself. You weren't quite yourself. But then you had a good bounce back Wednesday night, and on Thursday you let yourself laugh at yourself. So again, we're coming full circle here. Be able to laugh at yourself. Be able to admit sometimes you're not going to be at your best. It's okay. And keep those little silly things that make you you. Sometimes I feel like absolute crap. And this is the silly thing that makes me me. Sometimes I feel like absolute crap, and I will then think of something randomly stupid and funny to me, like Hook Tua, or I think of like a really funny, stupid moment on the stream from the previous week where we all laughed at me. Or I'm having a horrible day, and then I just I there's a conversation going on in the Discord, and I can make a funny comment like how I'm gonna join so that we have to play classic Overwatch because it's the best game, because I know it makes Kel angry, and so I can make a stupid little joke where I can say something dumb in a stream chat that's just dumb. I can, like, there's so many examples. I can't even give a specific example, but like, just something I can just do or say something stupid and just maniacally laugh, because that's my brand, right? I do and say stupid things sometimes, and I just like laugh at my own jokes so hard. And so it's important to be able to laugh at your own stupidity sometimes, and and to be able to say like, wow, that was a shit day. And how funny is it that all day I was grumpy, and then I hear this little song from Ariana Grande and the hit musical Wicked, now playing in theaters, and I'm singing at the top of my lungs. Not good, mind you. And Chili Max, I'm sure you're a great singer, but sometimes I laugh at the ridiculousness of me singing because I don't think I'm a good singer. And I can laugh at the ridiculous, like, I was this grumpy guy all day, and then this little cheerful little song from the musical came on, and I was belting it out with my stupid voice and singing it. And like, that's part of what makes me me, is I'm a silly little guy. And so, yeah, I don't know. Don't lose yourself fully. It's okay to lose yourself a little bit at times, but try to hold on to those silly little things that make you you, because that's what's perfect about you. Is like, that's what's perfect about all of us, is we have these silly little things, these little quirks that that make us us. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I hope your question was answered, Chili Mex. If not, I apologize, but you can always ask a follow-up next week. And yeah, just know we're all rooting for you, because I know you're going through a stressful time. I've seen it, and you thankfully told us. So I am, I'm thinking of you in these hard times, and I hope that that the hard times will pass and you can feel a little less stressed, because stressful times suck. I'm glad for me this is a relatively unstressful week coming up, but I mean, really for me, the end of the year is a pretty unstressful time at work, so that's great in general. So December should be relatively okay. But I know once January hits, that's my busy month. So I'm aware that my stressful, shitty time is coming up, and I'm trying to enjoy the good time while I can. So you know what? I might seem positive these next few weeks, but January's coming, and it might be tough. So I'll do my best. I hope you will too. Thank you for the wonderful question, as always, Chili Max. All right. And the final question from Ross Coolcat. A little more lighthearted as we close out the last few minutes of the podcast here. It says, do you gradually invest and buy equipment for upgrading stream setup? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way to do it. Depending on your own budget, different people have different budgets. But yeah, I think if there's things that you want, I'm a believer in, don't buy things just because you feel like you need them. If it's something you really want to upgrade for your stream, go ahead and buy it. But like, there's definitely people who probably might feel pressured to, for example, buy a stream deck. If you don't know what a stream deck is, it's like a well, let me see if I can show you. It's this little thing. Hold on. Let me do this. Will this work? Yep. It's this little thing, right? And I use it for my expressions. I can use it for scenes, to jump to my different scenes and to do an expression. Like if I want to be sad, I can push this little button and then I turn sad. So like, yeah. So for me, this has use, right? But there's people who might say, oh, right, you have a stream deck, I need to have a stream deck too, who don't really have a use for a stream deck. You don't have all those different expressions in your VTuber or scenes to transition to, etc. So you don't really need it. So my best advice is, yeah, you absolutely should gradually invest. I mean, unless I guess you're balling and you can just buy everything up front, that's fine too. I don't judge. If you've got so much money that you can just buy everything up front, hey, good for you. But it's good to gradually invest, but don't think about whether you need something before you buy it. Don't think like, oh, I saw this streamer and he has like, here's the list of all the things he has, and he has like all these things. You don't necessarily need that. Think about the things that you need. And if you're not really interested in that, don't buy it just because like, oh, my favorite streamer has that, I need it. Buy what you think that you need. If you know that you like to stream like mostly older games, or that don't, need a lot of high graphic stuff, you probably don't need like the highest, I don't know, what's the highest card? Like the 4090? Is that the highest? I don't know. But like, you probably don't need the most intense graphics card. And you don't need to spend an extra $1,000 to get the top of the line graphics card, because that's not what you need. Like I said with the stream deck, if you don't have that many sources, or you don't have expressions on your VTuber or whatever, or you're just use a PNG tuber and you don't need a stream deck, don't buy a stream deck just because oh, Raichu has one. Don't, and if you have a pretty good mic and you're happy with the quality, don't think like, oh, whatever famous streamer has like a $800 mic, so I need that too. You don't necessarily. Like, if you're happy with what you have, that's okay. You can gradually invest, and you can set goals for yourself to, hey, I want to upgrade this at this time. that's totally fine. But just don't fall into the trap that is seeing what others are doing and thinking you need to have these things because they do, because that's a dangerous road to go down. And people will always have things that you don't have. And so if your like sole goal is like, I need to have this because someone else does, it's going to be very, very problematic and dangerous for you, because again, people are always going to have things that you don't have, or you don't really want, or you don't really need. And that's okay. I have over time, I mean, I have a good webcam. I have a very good mic. I have a Stream Deck. I have a Leap Motion for my hand tracking. I have a decent PC, but probably need to upgrade it soon. So I have all those things, but there was a time where I used a crusty headset mic, and there was a time when I didn't have a VTuber and all that stuff. No Leap Motion, no nothing. So it's okay to do it gradually for sure. So to answer your question, Ross, I would say yes. Gradually investing is the best way to do it, unless, again, for some reason you have tons of money and you just want to buy everything up front, whatever, and that's fine. But don't feel like you need something just because someone else has it. But if it's something you really want or could see yourself using for the stream, yeah, save up, work on it gradually, put a little money away every month, and make it like a goal for anything. Just like how people have goals to get a fursuit or to go to a con, and they're saving money for that. If you need to save money to be able to get a new piece of equipment to upgrade your stream, do that. Work on that every little bit, and eventually you'll be able to get it, and you'll feel good that you were able to save up for it. So, yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it, Ross. Thank you very much for the question. Well, my friends, I think that is about all. That's the last question we've got for the week. So thank you, as always, for listening to our 10th episode. I think we had some good talks today, and I think there's hopefully some good, useful information shared. And I hope that people got something out of this, because I think we had some good deep talks. We spent a lot of time having some deep talks on this one. So I'm thankful for that. I'm always thankful for it. So thank you, as always, guys, for the plethora of interesting questions that we could talk about, and for listening in as well. Next week, my friends, the episode airing on December 8th, we will have a special guest, and that special guest is none other than the Game Orca. He asked me a while back. He said if I would be down to have him, he would be down to jump on. And so we've been planning this for a little bit. And so it's going to go down on December 8th. He will be our special guest. So I will probably, you'll already have seen it in the when I announce it on Monday, aka tomorrow, December 2nd, that the form is open and he's our special guest. So you can ask questions directed to him. You'll already have seen that, but just in case somehow you watch or listen to this before that happens, well, congratulations. Now you are hip to the knowledge that that no one else is, who hasn't listened all the way through. So great job. Congratulations. That's so cool. But yeah, he'll be joining me next week, and looking very forward to it. We'll have a few more episodes. Let's see. We've got December 8th will be episode 11. December 15th will be episode 12. December 22nd, episode 13. And December 29th, episode 14 to round out the year. Crazy, man. Really crazy. So let's get through these next few episodes. We'll reassess what we want to do for 2025. I'm looking forward to it, though. I hope you are too. If you're not, well, I'm sad. Want to see? Here, look at. See, I pushed the button on my Stream Deck. I'm sad. Don't make me sad. I want to be happy. But yeah, thank you guys as always, though. I really appreciate it. Everyone's so nice to me. Everyone's so thoughtful, and always tells me that they enjoyed the podcast and that they like to listen to it, and that they add comments. By the way, I just want to say a lot of you guys do it already, but that's probably the channel I'm most excited about. When someone posts in the podcast discussion channel, it makes me very, very happy. So I hope that you guys will keep chatting about it there, because I love to hear what you guys had to say about it, and it's something I spend a lot of time on and put a lot of effort in. And it's not like a stream where we can chat about it live. So the only way I know is if you listen to it and you got something out of the episode, or you liked it, or it made you feel something. The only way I'll know that is if you type it in the podcast discussion channel. So I really appreciate when you guys do that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I appreciate you being so nice to me all the time. Until then, though, I will see you on Tuesday for Kingdom Hearts, unless you've already watched this. I think we're gonna do some marbles on Thursday. So again, you might, if you watch this really quickly, you might uh, know that we're doing marbles before I even post the schedule. So I think we're gonna do that. And yeah, good times, my friends. Much, much love. Thank you as always for all the support. I really do appreciate you. It means the world to me. And thank you for being you. I appreciate it. Take care. Bye.